CJAD.com.
News, conversation, the latest weather, and road reports. It's all here on Montreal Now with Aaron Rand, CJAD 800.
I don't know. I'm liking this as an intro for the time being. Just kind of works for me. Alice is dancing. It's a good sign. Good afternoon and welcome to the show. We're going to keep this for a while, at least for the week, and see what reaction is. So if you like this is our new opening to replace Bruno Mars. Still a big Bruno Mars fan. Let me know. You can text me. You can let me know. I think we should play it again. It's way too short. I just talk over the back of it. I like that song so much. Go ahead. Yeah, that's good. So yes, here it is, Tuesday. By the way, where is everyone? I drove into work this afternoon, and there's like zero traffic. It's never like that. So I'm guessing there are a lot of people obviously starting their summer vacation maybe this week or got away on the weekend. So that's still good if you're in traffic, I think. At least if you're going to work at 1 in the afternoon. It was very handy today. It was a nice drive in. So, all right. Hope you're having a good one so far. I think we managed to avert the worst yesterday, right? We spent so much time talking about a potential thunderstorm and tornado touching down and hail. Did we get anything in the city? We saw a little bit of rain, and I think that was about as bad as it got. I know people out in the West, people who were texting in Beaconsfield and Rigaud, whatever, it probably was a lot worse there, but Montreal managed to, as I said, avert, I think, the worst. And today, pretty nice day. Pretty close to perfect day, right? Not even super hot. And the good news is this is apparently in the forecast for tomorrow as well. So you got at least a couple of nice days before things change. I think we're also supposed to start getting excited about what's happening up in the skies? There's a meteor shower going on, or this is tonight or into tomorrow, right? And we're going to get a partial eclipse as well. Are you up on this stuff?
I mean, I know it's the Perseids.
The Perseid meteor shower, yeah.
On August 12th. And apparently we're going to have a really good view.
We are?
Because it's a new moon as well.
Oh, a new moon.
So it's going to make it really easy to see the stars. It's so cool.
Yeah, because usually with the old moon, it's not that good. But with a new moon, I imagine the view will be much, much better.
With a full moon would be the word you're looking for.
So when is this? Is tomorrow night or tonight into tomorrow?
Wednesday night, so tomorrow
Wednesday night, okay. We'll certainly keep you. We'll have an updated Perseid meteor shower report so you know exactly where to look and what to look for. A couple of notes really quickly. So I talked about being back from vacation. We were in Norway. What I failed to mention yesterday was, although I got my bag, my luggage, my wife did not. It did not make the flight. That's now 9 days ago. Still no bag. And the back and forth, if you've ever gone through something like this when you've returned and your luggage just didn't make it and you try to work out a thing where's my bag? I don't know what it is with Canadian-based airlines. We travel KLM, which is now part of, I guess, Air France, KLM, they're together. It was like, I don't know. It's like the left hand had no idea what the right hand was doing. You first go to the airport when your bag doesn't show up, and you can file a claim right there, and they give you a number and stuff, and you figure, this is great, they have it under control, they'll get it to me right away, and they say, as soon as we have it, we're going to deliver your bag. Did I mention it's been 9 days? And then suddenly today, and by the way, my wife Val has kind of gone crazy trying to get answers to this. Just a simple answer like, is our bag here? Is her bag here? Did it make them? And they send conflicting messages. Your bag is left and your bag is here, but I'm sorry, we don't have your bag, so it hasn't left and it's not here, but it could be here, but it might leave tomorrow, but it could be here if it's coming from... That's what it's been like until today. This text that I got, because I'd filed a report that says your baggage item number, and it cites the number, has arrived at the airport, which is interesting because they told us that 5 days ago. It will be delivered to the address you provided as soon as possible. You'll be contacted about the delivery details. And I got excited seeing this because it's an update from nothing for the past 5 days. And then I thought, why am I excited? This is just an update. You know that from here on, right? There could be nothing for the next 5 days. It's like an appeasement text. We're letting you know we haven't forgot about you. We think. So, again, for anybody who's ever gone through this before, I get it. I understand. You have my sympathies, right? It's so... First of all, you don't know what's going on. Should you go out and buy something else? I guess the good thing is you're not... If it had happened the other way around, right, on the way there, as opposed to on the way back, that would have been much, much worse. But then, of course, you could go out and buy clothes, and you can submit an invoice and bring your receipts, and they'd have to pay, I think, to a minimum of whatever it is, because you have to replace your clothes. You've arrived in another country with nothing. So as I said, better it happen on the way home than on the way there. But for those of you who've, as I said, gone through this, you have my sympathies. Thank you. I knew someone would do this. Thank you, Texter, for not disappointing me. Why didn't you just put AirTags in your luggage? I have AirTags. I do. Where are they? They're at home. Because I didn't. Yeah. So thank you. My fault. But by the way, what difference? I still wouldn't have a bag. I know it was stuck, I don't know, in Oslo or Amsterdam or somewhere, but I still wouldn't have a bag. Would that make me feel better? I'm not sure. We'll see how this goes. Okay, what else is going on today? So I guess the big deal, we're going to talk about this on our question in just a couple of minutes, is this whole PSPP open letter in, of all places, the National Post, reaching out to who? Ostensibly Anglo-Quebecers, because we're the ones who are going to vote in the upcoming election, but for some reason, and maybe when we next have Paul St-Pierre Plamondon on the show, he can explain what the rationale was behind putting an open letter, an op-ed, in, of all places, a national newspaper, as opposed to a Quebec or a Montreal. If you're talking to Anglos, wouldn't the obvious place to go be to publish your letter in the Gazette? I don't know, or the Suburban? What are you doing? And then And I said when I talked to Trudy, we were on just chatting before noon, I said, do you really think the rest of Canada cares about what's going on in a Quebec election right now? I don't. Unless you're in Alberta and you're really kind of focused on the whole separation thing, but that seems to be a pretty dead issue now as well. Anyway, we'll talk about that. I want to get your take on it. And I found my favorite Paul St-Pierre Plamondon clip. He's been very, very good to us in terms of, interviews in the past. I will mention today, after this came out, we tried, right? You reached out, yep, Alice, and said, hey, come on, let's talk about this. And the answer was?
No, and no for the kind of foreseeable future.
Okay. Now, Leslie Roberts, same day,
yeah,
his letter, basically commenting on Paul St-Pierre Plamondon's letter. We reached out to Leslie, and he is now where?
He's in
meetings.
He's in meetings. Now it's
okay,
because of the SPVM public meeting,
which is tonight.
And he's in the Committee for Public Security.
And to be fair, he's been very available for us in the past. So I'm not, I realize today's a big day for the city because of that whole situation in Montreal North with the policing situation. But Paul St-Pierre Plamondon, what could he be busy with? Right, he's touring around Quebec. He could have taken a couple of minutes. But anyway, it's not going to happen today. But it will down the road, right? Officially, as we get closer and closer to this campaign really getting into gear, I am sure he will come on. But as I said, I have that clip that I've saved from wherever I've done a couple of podcasts with him. He's been on the show a couple of times. And he's one of those people, I just don't want to get into too much of it. I like Paul St-Pierre Plamondon. I do. As a person. Nice guy. He's frank. He doesn't, necessarily kind of sway or, change his opinion just because, he's in a different place. They say sometimes politicians will say one thing in English and another in French. I don't think he does that. And as I said, he's been fairly available to us, but I kept this one clip because I think it kind of sums everything up. So I'll play that as part of our question when we come back. The other things coming up on the show, let me tell you what's cooking today. This is going to be kind of fun. Number one, you probably heard Vashi was talking about, she had someone on from the wildfires in BC. Terrible situation there. I think that number is, I know 20,000 were evacuated from a town called Summerland. And now apparently another 11,000 have been put on evacuation alert because there's so many wildfires burning. So we're going to talk to a Quebecer who now lives in BC. And when he made the decision to go to BC, where did he decide to get a home? In Summerland. Believe it or not. We're going to talk to Carl Boucher coming up just after 3 o'clock. The good news, as far as those of you who enjoy your summer corn, I didn't know this. I found out yesterday when Mitsumi was on the show because it was one of the stories in CTV News. It is this year. It's a bumper crop for corn. And our local sweet corn is fantastic, right? And some years, better than others as far as weather goes. I think the setup this year was, it wasn't a perfect year weather-wise. It turns out for corn it was. So there's good news if you want to go out and buy some corn. And Brian, you never have corn on your Friday shopping list, do you?
No, but it's usually like 30 cents, 25 cents I've seen corn being sold for right now.
You can buy like a dozen corns for a couple of bucks usually, right?
Yeah.
So we'll update you on that store. We're going to talk to Phil Quinn from Quinn Farms. Good year for corn, and cheap, which is really, really good too. And then later in the show, Davis Alexander, even if you're not a Montreal Alouettes fan, or just a semi-fan, like, you sort of follow what's going on, this has been an amazing season so far. We're only halfway through, but the Owls are 8-1. And their young quarterback, named Davis Alexander, has basically set the league on fire. He came out of I don't know where. Well, you'll find out when he's going to be here. He's going to be joining us in studio at 4 o'clock. Came out of nowhere, kind of following along second string, third string actually, before he actually got in. And now he's become the winningest quarterback to start a career in the entire Canadian Football League. So he's going to join us from, well, he's going to be, as I said, in studio. He's from a small town. He played his college football at Portland State. And I looked at the numbers today, and he had amazing numbers, but didn't even get picked, didn't even get looked at in the NFL draft. So we're going to talk about that, how he ended up in Montreal, what he thinks of the city now. You always wonder with guys like this from, small schools, do they even know there was a Canadian Football League? So he's going to join us, as I said, in studio at 4 o'clock. Let's get to traffic. First time around on this.
iHeartRadio is throwing it back.
2010s, the decade.
To the days of huge hits and unforgettable anthems. A non-stop stream of the biggest and best.
Drake, Rihanna, Beyonce, Katy, Gaga, The Weeknd.
And more. All your decade-defining favorites all in one place.
Hi, it's Katy Perry.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
This is Kesha.
Find 2010's The Decade on the free iHeartRadio app. Preset the station so it's always one tap away. Montreal Now with Aaron Rand.
Where questions go to meet their answers.
On CJAD 800.
I want Anglophones to vote PQ. Their interest is our interest. We all have the same interest to have our money not wasted and directed towards our need. And so independence of Quebec is not a religion. It's not an ideology. It's a solution to the dysfunctionality of the federal regime.
So that is Paul St-Pierre Plamondon, which that goes back quite a while, right? But it's as valid today as it was the first time he said it. And again, I question this whole idea about an ideology. It's interesting in the open letter that Paul St-Pierre Plamondon published in the National Post, one of the lines is this: over the past months, many Anglophone Quebecers have told me they would vote for the Parti Québécois for the first time in their lives, simply because they agree with our stances on a vast majority of issues. I don't even know what those stances are. So how could you say that you would vote PQ because you agree? The only stance is they were going to have a referendum. They want separation. We know that. That's a given. And in this same article, that is addressed minimally by simply saying, let's talk about that later. We don't need to discuss that now. There are other things to take care of, but I don't know what their stance is. So I think that's a bit disingenuous to suggest that Anglo-Quebecers are saying, I like what I'm hearing from Paul St-Pierre Plamondon. To which my comment is, what are you hearing? Because I haven't heard anything. It's easy to sit back and say, look, our healthcare system is a mess. Our education system is not well. Cost of living is out of control. Yeah, every party says that because it's true. And every party would also say the CAQ has done a terrible job, not just because they're in opposition, but because it happens to be the truth. This government has done a terrible job. Everybody knows it. That's why Christine Frechette, now the leader of the CAQ, no longer refers to the CAQ. It's a Keep Christine Frechette team. The CAQ thing is gone. So we all know that's the problem. That has been the problem for the past 8 years. Where's the PQ saying, well, if we were in power, here's what we were going to do when it comes to homelessness? I haven't heard that. And maybe it's fair to say, well, wait a sec, the campaign's not really begun. Well, maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. But if you're going to suggest to people that, or suggest that they like your stance on the issues, it would be important that I could say or delineate what those stances are. I haven't heard any. Other than this is no good and that is no good, which, as I said, is something every party has said and will continue to say. I actually think, and I said this at the outset, I think the upcoming debates, not in English because there aren't any, but the upcoming French debates, my understanding is there'll be 3. That's where we finally get to see the gloves come off and let's see what happens there. At some point, someone's going to have to say what their plan is on the economy, on housing, on healthcare, or whatever. And then that's what I think voters will make a decision on. So for the PQ still to be running in first place, according to the newest Leger poll, I guess that says something, but it's not a gigantic lead. There was one point things were going so badly for the CAQ, polls were showing the PQ could actually form a majority government. Those days are gone. Now we're looking at a minority, so yes, still ahead, but there's a long way to go. But my question to you today is based on this open letter and based on what Paul St-Pierre Plamondon is saying, pointing and specifically going after Anglo-Quebecers. So you, if you're an Anglo-Quebecer, are you thinking of voting PQ? And if it's for the first time ever, I'm curious, why now? What's he said or done that makes you think, yeah, that's where I park my vote? 790-0800. I'm going to read your text. There's some good ones here in a sec. First, let me go to Gary. Gary, what do you think?
Hey, Aaron. I'm an Anglophone born in Verdun, married to a French Canadian.
There's not one person I know and of my Anglo friends that would vote PQ. Even my wife or her family would not vote PQ. So I don't know where he's getting this idea that there's some English that are going to vote for him, because I don't know one, anybody I know.
I don't know one either. As I was kind of joking when I said, he said many Anglos have come up to him. Of course, he hasn't named any, and I was being silly when I said that. But, when you talk about being married to a French Canadian, I don't know what the split is in the vote between Francos and Anglos, if that's even in this Léger poll, as to who would vote for who. What does your wife say with respect to not wanting to vote for them? Why?
She's not a separatist. She's a proud Canadian, and I really think it matters on what her platform is going to be. It's still going to have separation in there, and
right.
We're not separatists.
Okay. Gary, I appreciate the phone call. Thank you. Gord, what about you?
Hello, Aaron.
Gord?
You remember a long time, it's quite a while back, the Québécois really screwed us over. They closed a bunch of our hospitals, and that's probably the main reason why we have all these waiting lists for surgeries. Now, I don't know why people don't remember these things, but seems the population in our province has forgotten everything, and they're going to vote for them again.
Well, Gord, how that works, right? People have short memories when it comes to politics, right? As I said, it's like I have to remind people the past 8 years. You may like Christine Frechette, by the way, right? I think the only reason the CAQ is doing as well as it's doing in polls is because of her. It's certainly not for what the party has done. And I will remind everyone, what are we at? 41 people who have now quit that party, say they will not run again. What does that tell you? So, yes, people like her. I get it. She's telegenic. She seems nice. She kind of, snored us a little bit at the beginning, right? When she said she's going to change the tone in relation to Anglos, and then did nothing after the fact. And when asked about reversing some decisions that the CAQ had made, not ready to do that either. So, I'm not ready to simply say, oh, well, it's a whole different CAQ and we should give them another chance. I'm not sure very many people are. Gord, I thank you for the call. Let me read this text. The PQ won't be trying to govern properly. This is an interesting take. Instead, they'll purposely govern badly and provoke conflicts with Ottawa and internally between their Francophone voter base and anyone else who is not de souche in order to sell their independence obsession to Francophones. That's a really interesting theory. And not that far-fetched, I don't think, right? If your big issue is you don't like the way you're being treated by the federal government, and as things get worse, that would give you, reason to go ahead and say we need to have a referendum. Well, one way to do it is to just act badly with the feds and blame everything on them. Like you're doing everything right, they're doing everything wrong, they're stonewalling you, they don't want to get stuff done. And then you say, well, we have no choice, given that, than to call a referendum. So to Mark and NDG, thank you. I think, as I said, I think that's a fascinating approach. I'm not even sure that it's wrong. I think as a theory, you want to create something bad, be the one to begin something bad. So that's really, really good. Okay, let me go to this one because I got a lot here I want to get to. 790-0800, but let me read some of these first. As an Anglophone in Quebec, I am forced to be a single-issue voter, and that issue is language. We split our votes between Liberals and Conservatives, and look where it got us. We need to stick to, as the PQ call them, the West Island Liberals. Yeah, I get that, sure. That's how it's always been, but at the end of the day, that's not enough to win an election. And everybody knows that. They're going to have to win votes in the regions, and the last numbers I saw, I think in the Léger poll, they're only at 14%, which is better than where they were at the bottom a few months ago, but it's still far away from where they would need to be to win an election. So it's going to have to change. But as far as Anglos are concerned, you're right. Maybe that's where we're going back to. Although, I will point out, Eric Duhem of the Conservatives, at least up until, a few weeks ago, was trying to court English votes. I'm not sure that's the case anymore. I think now it's a matter, last time I heard, he's blaming Anglos for not voting Conservative. I don't think that's a way to get votes. Patrick, what about you? What do you think? Patrick, go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon, Aaron. No, I'm an immigrant. My parents moved here back in the late 50s. Why would I want to vote for a party that wants to dismantle Canada, which is one of the most beautiful countries in the world? Everybody just wants to come over here. They, like you said before, when your caller said, they did nothing when they were in power. All they did was dismantle our hospital system from Pauline Marois, who did a great job doing that. And as far as I'm concerned right now, I have no idea who I'm going to vote for. Yeah. But I'm definitely not going to vote for the PQ.
Isn't that interesting that you say that, right? Because as I said, that's what this Léger poll shows. 49% of people, when asked who they'd vote for, are still undecided. I say it's this late in a campaign. The campaign officially hasn't even really begun, but you know what I mean. For that many people to simply not say, yeah, I'm going to vote this way or that way, that's a little scary too. So I don't know. I don't know where that goes or how that plays out. I think that's one of those things where if you're the PQ, you want to talk less and less and less about the referendum and separation, because you know that's not a way to win. That simply scares people away, including people who would vote for you otherwise. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play that. Patrick, thank you for the call. Hal, what about you?
Well, thanks for taking my call there, Aaron. The large majority of Montrealers do not wish, and I repeat that, do not wish to be governed by a separatist party, period. End of story. We should have a petition or some kind of mechanism to get through to the Governor General of Canada stating that we in Montreal do not want to be governed by any separatist party.
Yeah, but how? That's, first of all, that's not going to happen. You imagine what that would do to the separatists. They'd lose their mind if you went to the Governor General. All you have to do is just not vote PQ. You have other party choices, right? They're all there except for the Bloc, who I believe have separation in their agenda. It's a simple, no, we're not voting PQ. You will vote someone else. Do you have an issue voting provincial Liberal?
Aaron, both the Liberal Party and the PQ Party of Quebec, they're both run by homosexuals. Let's face facts.
Okay, all right. I have no idea where that's coming from. Wow. How? Don't call again. Michael, what about you? What do you think?
I wouldn't vote for them if they paid me, or they're the last party on earth. I would rather vote for baboons, because all these guys, like, they want to be, they want to win, they want to this and that, and they all play on each other's bad stuff,
Sure. Well, but you know what? But Michael, that's okay. If there's bad stuff to play on, you have to point it out. You're not going to ignore it, right?
I get it. But if you harp on, you act on it. They don't. That's the problem. They all want to listen. They all go in with good intentions.
Well,
but as soon as they get in, they get stuck in this wheel that's terrible.
Okay.
They don't act on their stuff.
Well,
the best was Chrétien, if you remember Chrétien.
Yeah.
He has that book. Oh, we're getting rid of the TPS. It wasn't in the book.
Yeah.
We're still paying for it.
I got it. Michael, appreciate the call. Salvatore, I'm going to give you the last word. What do you think?
Okay, how are you, sir?
Good, thank
Everything
you.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
I will never vote for the PQ, but they dismantled the education, healthcare, you name it. Everything was upside down. Where are the Liberal Party? Where is the leader for the Liberals that we can listen to and make sure that we're going to go ahead and make sure that the leader for the Liberal is going to be the one that we're going to be able to vote for? So where is everybody? All of a sudden, the Liberal leaders are nowhere to be found?
No, we have a Liberal leader. His name is Charles Milliard. He's around. He's being found. I don't understand.
Yeah, but what I mean is that there is only one. There is so many to choose from.
Okay.
And nobody's coming forward in order to tell us what they're going to do in order to fix it.
I got it. Okay. Thank you for the call, by the way. And yeah, we have to hear it. I'm sure we're going to start hearing it more and more as we get closer to the election, what the actual fixes are from the various parties. You can make your mind up, I guess, in Salvatore's case after you hear that. I'm going to bring this back after 4 o'clock because I have a ton of texts I did not get a chance to read. So thank you. You can still text in, by the way, at 514-790-0800. Thank you for the calls. And as I said, we'll do it again after 4 o'clock. In the meantime, let's get to...
You've heard the chaos. Now you can see it. Oh my God. Watch all your favorite podcasts from start to finish right inside the free iHeartRadio app.
Gets the blood going, huh?
Catch every laugh and eye roll on shows like the Tom Green Farmcast and Park the Bus. Now with full video.
We're building a ramp for Tony Hawk.
It's the same hosts and the same chemistry with all the hilarious moments you've been missing right on your screen.
Cheers.
Open the free iHeartRadio app, search video podcasts, and tap watch.
Yeah. You're listening to Montreal Now on CJAD 800.
All right, let's take a look at the calendar for today. See what we got here. Ladies and gentlemen, today is National Hip Hop Day. National Hip Hop Day. It says here, hip hop has taken music, dance, and street art to new heights. It started as an outlet for raw energy and bold voices. Now it fills concert halls and city walls with rhythm and flair. Well written. Hip Hop Day celebrates that impact and brings to attention the creativity that grew from the sidewalks and block parties started way back in 1973. And I think it's fair to say New York, center of the hip-hop universe at the time, although eventually we had East Coast, West Coast, right? Anyway, I just think it's to mark the day. There are a lot of hip-hop songs. I know a few. I'm not a hip-hop guy. Brian, you're a hip-hop guy?
Yeah, big time.
So these are good. These are symbolic, I think, right?
Yeah, all three are really good.
So to kick it off, as we mark Hip-Hop Day, you remember this? You remember the Rapper's Delight by the Sugar Hill Gang? This?
I said 1, 2, 3, 4, come on, girls, get on the floor, come alive, yo, give me what you got, cause I'm guaranteed to make you rock. I said 1.
I think this is the first one that really kicked it off mainstream for a lot of people. And then if you got a little more serious into hip-hop a little later on, The Message by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. Remember this?
I can't take the smell, can't take the noise, got no money to move out, I guess I got no choice. Rats in the front room, roaches in the back, junkies in the alley with the baseball bat. I tried to get away, but I couldn't get far, cause a man with a tow truck repossessed my car. Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge.
There you go. And of course, it's interesting because today it's actually in the news. If you have not heard, Tupac Shakur, who was killed. So we're talking 28 years ago in Vegas. I still remember this story. It was all over the news at the time. No one ever caught the guy. And now there is someone in court, almost 30 years later, being charged with having not pulled the trigger, but actually somehow contracting the people who would eventually kill Tupac. And for whatever reason, as I said, I'm not a big hip-hop guy, but this song, whenever, and I have this, whenever this comes on the radio, I turn this up. I don't know why, but maybe this is one of the big songs. Maybe at the time, this thing sold 5 million copies when it first came out, and he was only 25, I think, when he died. You remember this, California Love? Tupac Shakur, as I said, that story very much in the news now. So for those of you celebrating happy National Hip Hop Day, today's your day. All right, let me get you a little bit of what I found on the internet. As I said, this made me smile. So for those of you, I guess fair to say boomers, rejoice. Here's one of us saying and describing how things were different when we were growing up in a much better way.
You have any idea how grateful I am that we're the last generation to have an actual childhood? No smartphones, no social media, no parents tracking your location like you're a FedEx package. One family computer that sounded like it was trying to contact aliens every time it connected to the internet. Leave the house at 10 in the morning, come back later. Parents had no clue where I was. I think he's with Tommy. You sure? Not exactly. He'll figure it out. Remember they used to have commercials reminding people that they had kids? It's whatever o'clock. Do you know where your children are? And parents were like, you know, now that you ask, where is Brian? What did we do all day? We'd find a ball. We'd find a stick. We'd find an abandoned shopping cart. That was the best when you'd find one of those. That's 10 hours of entertainment right there. Kids now, they need a fully charged iPad, noise-canceling headphones, Wi-Fi, a gaming chair, and they're all sad. I mean, we had an imagination. Remember when you'd find like a pile of dirt that like the town made because they're doing something? And you're like, this is our military base. This is our base now. And you'd see a group of other kids and like they'd see that you have a pile of dirt. Be all like, oh yeah, okay. And they'd find something else to make their military base. And that was the day. Develop like a little turf war out of nowhere. Man, sometimes we'd just like walk into the woods. No objective. Let's just see what's in there. Maybe there's a witch in there or something. And you'd find nothing. Maybe you'd find a frog. That was great when you'd find a frog. And you'd all be like passing it around, following it around. And nobody had a camera phone or anything. You could just be an absolute idiot. No consequences. You could jump off a shed holding an umbrella just to check if Mary Poppins is real. You'd fall, you'd break something, you'd limp for a while. There was nobody leaving comments, bro thought he was an Avenger. Like, none of that stuff. You just walked it off, you know? We drank out of hoses, rode bikes without helmets. We would build ramps, and the first guy to go off, the landing wasn't even a thought. It was just, will we be airborne? And that's what I think I missed the most. Childhood wasn't optimized. Nobody was trying to make memories or trying to have fun. We just did. Being like the last group of people whose childhood exists only in our memories and not on the internet, I wouldn't trade that for anything.
God, I absolutely love that. That is fantastic. By the way, I love that line when he said, when we rode bikes as kids, he said, we don't wear helmets. He goes, helmets? Pfft. Helmets? Nobody wore a helmet riding a bike back then. Are you crazy? And that's so true, right? You'd find a ramp and one of the kids would be brave enough to go out. You weren't worried about landing. You were to see how high off his bike he could get before he fell off. It was a different time. It was a great time. Comedy, this is Jay Moore.
Do me a favor, set your cell phone to something like, ring. My cell phone goes off, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like a phone. Ring. Some people get a little wacky with the cell phone rings. You'll be in a meeting, a boardroom or something, some guy's phone goes off. Then they look at you and go, is that yours or mine? You know that's yours, dummy. You stayed up till 4 a.m. figuring out how to make it play that song. The more annoying the song, the longer it takes them to find their phone. You're waiting for a bus, the guy next to you, you're halfway through the guitar solo of Freebird. You're like, will you answer that before I stab you with this pen?
You've heard the chaos. Now you can see it. Oh my God. Watch all your favorite podcasts from start to finish right inside the free iHeartRadio app.
Gets the blood going, huh?
Catch every laugh and eye roll on shows like the Tom Green Farmcast and Park the Bus. Now with full video.
We're building a ramp for Tony Hawk.
It's the same hosts and the same chemistry with all the hilarious moments you've been missing right on your screen.
Cheers.
Open the free iHeartRadio app, search video podcasts, and tap watch.
What's On Tonight is brought to you by the Ritz-Carlton Montreal, voted Canada's top luxury hotel by the readers of Travel and Leisure. Exceptional service and a commitment to excellence. The Ritz-Carlton Montreal.
Alrighty, let's see what we got cooking for you here. Brian Kowlessar is here with a check, BK.
Yep, awesome giveaway coming up later on in the show. We're giving you a chance to win a pair of tickets to check out the hit Broadway musical The Lion King at Place des Arts Thursday, August 20th. Tickets are available right now at evenco.ca, or stay tuned sometime in the 5 o'clock hour for your chance to win. Our good friends over on the Sunday morning trivia show, Jay Farrar and Joey Elias, they're taking the trivia show on the road tomorrow night at 8 p.m. over at Hurley's Irish Pub on Crescent. Admission is about $20, and there will be a bunch of great prizes to be won. Again, trivia show will be at Hurley's Irish Pub tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Lasso, the biggest country music festival in Montreal. It goes down this weekend, Saturday and Sunday at Parc Jean Drapeau. 2-day passes start at $250, and single-day tickets start at $150 for tickets in the full lineup. LassoMontreal.com. On TV tonight, you have America's Got Talent. The judges' callbacks at 8 o'clock. Late night guys, Jimmy Fallon has Dakota Fanning, 50 Cent, John Lovitz, and comedian Ainsley Bailey. If you're looking for a movie to watch on AMC, a double dose of Denzel Washington. First, you got Man on Fire at 8 o'clock, followed by The Book of Eli at 11. On TNT, you got Jurassic World at 9 o'clock, and on Crave 2, Deadpool and Wolverine at 10:55. In sports, National Bank Open, the quarterfinals continue throughout the entire day today in both men's singles and doubles. Tonight, as of 6 o'clock, there are 2 matches scheduled on the center court. Tickets start at about $150, but don't forget about my cheat code, the Ground Pass. For only $20, gives you complete access to the entire National Bank Open site. National Bank Open wraps up this Thursday, August 13th. For ticket schedules and everything you need to know for National Bank Open, nationalbankopen.com. And finally, Montreal Canadiens, their preseason schedule has been released. The Habs open up their preseason on Saturday, September 19th against the Toronto Maple Leafs, and preseason tickets, they're on sale right now. Tickets for the Montreal Canadiens regular season, they go on sale to the public September 14th.
Hey, by the way, for folks who want to take advantage of, you mentioned your Ground Pass thing for tennis, $20. Just mention that doesn't come with a seat.
No, right? It doesn't come with a seat, but you have complete access for the whole site and lots of place to watch the tennis.
Sit on the grass.
Yeah.
Thank you, BK.
No
3
problem.
o'clock, we got news, and then when we come back, you know, the situation, terrible situation with the wildfires in BC. We're going to talk to a former Quebecer who moved to British Columbia and lives, or maybe I should say lived, in that same town that's now seen 20,000 people be evacuated. That's next.
Montreal Now is brought to you by Dormez-vous. Get serious about sleep at Dormez-vous with up to 20% off mattresses, pillows, sheets, and more. Limited time only. Restrictions apply.
iHeartRadio is throwing it back.
2010s, the decade.
To the days of huge hits and unforgettable anthems. A non-stop stream of the biggest and best.
Drake, Rihanna, Beyonce, Katy, Gaga, The Weeknd,
and more. All your decade-defining favorites, all in one place.
Hi, it's Katy Perry.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
This is Kesha.
Find 2010's The Decade on the free iHeartRadio app. Preset the station so it's always one tap away.
You're listening to the Voice of Montreal,
News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
An iHeartRadio station.
Unmistakably Canadian.
It's the music that raised you.
The artists raising the bar.
Hi, this is Brian Adams.
Hey, my name's Brett Emmons. I'm from the Glorious Sons.
Hi, I'm Nelly Furtado.
Made in Canada. The station that champions Canadian music.
Loud, proud, and all yours.
No passports required. Just press play.
Tap into Made in Canada now on iHeartRadio.ca
or the free iHeartRadio app.